Ron is the author of the book Heart Thinking. And Ron, we're just delighted to have you with us today. And so, if you could just give us a little idea, what is heart thinking?
Well, heart thinking is the title came from the Bible. It says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Now, what on earth does that mean? What if you're thinking with your heart, what do you do with your brain? And how do you think with your heart? Well, I put that in better perspective. I'm going to read to you on the back of my book. It explains what I'm doing here. It says, ask and ye shall receive, knock and ye shall be opened unto you. All things are possible for him that believeth. Think and grow rich. Anything you can conceive and believe, you can achieve. Preparation precedes power. Yada, yada, yada. I tried. I really tried. It didn't work for me or any of my friends. Positive mental attitude, affirmations, hard work, it doesn't work. Well, this book explains why and how to fix it so it
Okay.
can really work for you.
All right. So let's start with the why. Why didn't it not work?
Because so many of us don't ever learn how to think with our heart. We don't understand it. We don't know what it means.
Okay. Well,
So-
what does it mean? I mean, I wake up in the morning and I think. How can I tell whether I'm thinking with my heart or if it's just my stomach saying it's time for breakfast?
Okay, a simple definition for understanding is heart thinking is actually your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind is not what you think with. You think with your brain. And your subconscious mind is that little safety valve that Heavenly Father put inside our body so that when we have stupid thoughts like, I think I can jump off this big tall building and I won't get hurt. I can try it. Well, it says, no, you don't, you stupid guy. You don't do that. That's your subconscious keeping you safe. And the same thing as if you suddenly want to go commit some sin. You wouldn't normally do it. Your subconscious says, no, that's not you. We won't do that, will we? Well, your subconscious is your servant. It's your slave. You're not going to get your servant who loves you to do anything that will hurt you. He just doesn't want to do that.
Okay, Ron,
Well-
I've been told that the subconscious is working all the time. It's doing things like making my heart beat, my lungs breathe, and a lot of things that I do just automatically without thinking.
That's called your autonomic nervous system. And yeah, it's your subconscious that is in control of that. If you want to tap into that kind of power, you've got to work with your conscious mind real hard until your subconscious mind actually believes that that's what you want to do. Now, a real good example of that is the kid who wants to learn to ride a bike. I love this analogy. He gets on that bike and maybe he's got his dad holding him up for a while, but then he thinks with his head, I can do it. And then pretty soon his bike starts to tip to the left. And he says, oh dear, the bike's falling left. I got to turn right. And boy, that just makes the bike fall harder, faster. Well, his subconscious mind is just screaming at him, hey, you dummy, get off this contraption. You're going to get hurt. But you want to ride that bike. And so you get up on it again and you figure out what you've learned. And you say, oh, actually, when you start to fall left, you turn left. And that'll get your balance again. Okay, let's go. Let's try it. And so pretty soon the bike starts to fall left. And so you turn that bike left and Well, you weren't fast enough and you crash, and your subconscious screams at you again, "You dummy, you're going to kill yourself. Don't get on that contraption." Well, you do it anyway. You want to ride that bike. So you get on it and you study what you learn and you apply it. And pretty soon your subconscious says, "Oh, you crazy kid. Yeah, if that's what you really want, I'll help." Now, from that time on, your subconscious puts in gear your autonomic system, and it teaches you how to ride that bike. You can ride it automatically. You can take your hands off the handlebars. You're riding that bike. And from that point on, you never forget. You haven't get on a bike for 20 years. You know you can still get on a bike and ride it. That's the power of the subconscious mind when it engages your autonomic nervous system. You can do anything.
Okay, so you're telling me that if my subconscious mind is shouting no, and I ignore it long enough and I keep pressing forward, that sooner or later my subconscious mind is going to take the hint that you're in control and will allow me to go ahead and, in your case, ride the bike.
Not only allow you, help you take
Okay.
over riding that bike.
Okay, so let's put it into the business world for a moment. Let's say that I'm scared to death to go out and make cold calls to sell my product. How do I teach my self-conscious, or how do I convince my self-conscious that it needs to help me get over the fear and get out there and make that sales call?
Well, if it's me giving counsel and advice, I'd say forget the whole thing. Cold calls are hard work.
Okay.
So, no, I see where you're coming from, and it does apply. It absolutely applies. And to answer your question, you go do the cold calls anyway. You get out there and you do them. That's how you teach your subconscious mind. It's not only what you think, it's not only your affirmations, it's got to be accompanied by physical action.
Okay, is that the difference between some of the self-help programs that you've taken and said did not work for you? Is it didn't allow you to go out and make it happen?
I think so in most cases, yes. But I'll tell you what, the main thing is that I misunderstood. I didn't know that it's a matter of me convincing my subconscious mind. I just thought if I had a lot of enthusiasm and said the affirmations, and well, boy, I'd get a lot of head of steam going there and I could go do it.
Right.
No, you have to take the time and the finesse and the energy to convince your subconscious mind that this is what you really want and that you expect it to help you.
Okay. Somebody made the point that the subconscious mind is a storage for information, and that the conscious mind has free will. So if that's the case, would you say then that your free will, your decision consciously to do this, whether your subconscious is saying yes or no, that you can do it?
We were put on this earth as mankind, and we were set apart away from animals. And that's the main thing that you just said. We have our agency. We can determine the way we want to go. Now, if it's something stupid and our subconscious starts yelling at us, it's going to take us a little longer to convince our subconscious to help. But that's what determines our future, our destiny. We have agency. The other flip side of that coin is accountability. But right now, you're talking agency.
Okay, so why does the subconscious say no when the conscious mind is saying this is what I want? Because, for example, that I talked about with the cold calls. Cold calls are not going to hurt anybody, and they're going to ultimately help me because it's going to help me make a sale. But even better than that, it's going to help my customer because I'm helping them solve a problem.
Well, all that you're saying is true. However, when a man goes up in front of an audience to give a speech, they've done lots of tests on this, and they find that that is the most terrifying thing there is in life, nearly. He's scared to death. He doesn't want to do that. It's unreasonable. It's a good speech. They're good people. They're not going to hurt him, but he doesn't want to do it. It's a scary thing. Well, your subconscious mind is, once again, that's where you live. That's the real you. And the real you doesn't want to go force yourself into the lives of people on the street. The real you doesn't want to intrude. The real you is a nice guy. The real you just doesn't want to do that.
Okay, so are you saying that we are all introverts rather than extroverts?
No, you were giving the example of someone who didn't want to do it. If there's an extrovert, then that's a different story.
Well, and that was the point that I want to make is, what do we do if, as an extrovert, we have the same problem that the introvert has?
I'm not sure what you mean. Just explain that a little more.
Well, everybody is afraid, or seems like everybody is afraid, to get up in front of the crowd and make a speech. A lot of that is the fear that I'm not going to be accepted, or the fear that they're going to laugh at me, or whatever the fears are. And it might boil back to when I was in high school and I made a speech as one of my assignments, and the instructor said, "That's terrible. You'll never amount to being a speaker."
Oh, that's a wonderful teacher. Well, I don't know what to tell you about that. The same principles apply. These are laws of nature, just like the law of gravity. If you don't want to do something, you're afraid of it, you've got to convince your subconscious mind that this is what you want to do. You're going to do it, and it's got to help you. And once you make the conversion, then it'll become easy.
Okay, so how many speeches do I have to give before I learn how to ride the bicycle?
I don't know. I don't know how much an extrovert you are. You look to me like you're pretty much of an extrovert already, and that's almost part of your personality to begin with.
Okay, well, let's play with that for just a second, Ron, because you are 100% wrong. I am, by nature, an introvert, and I have taught myself to be the extrovert.
Well, then what you've done is you've applied the principles of heart thinking.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You are exactly right. But it came from a lot of other things before it ever got to public speaking. It came from developing self-confidence to overpower fear. And so do you agree that that's what I need to do if I'm afraid of speaking? I need to develop self-confidence to overcome that fear of speaking.
Well, what you're saying is true, but I think you need the additional element is you got to get out there and do it.
Okay. Well,
that's how you overcome the fear.
And how do I work up the courage to get out there and do it if I'm afraid?
Oh, well, I don't know. Everybody has a different way of doing that, I guess. Who was that gorgeous creature that just poked in and out of your back screen there?
Well, there's only two of us here, so that must have been my delightful wife, and I didn't see her walk by.
Oh, okay. How do we do it? How do we do it? In the book that I've written here, Heart Thinking, I go through a lot of scenarios for people to do that very thing. And I focus a lot on the aphorisms, mental conditioning, but I also include the physical. There's got to be a physical element here. Now, in the book, my physical element sometimes is no more than just holding your stomach in tight. What do you say, the physical aphorism? It's a physical action. There she is.
Okay, so she's writing me a note here. So we'll have to edit this out. Anyway, so how about this? If I'm afraid of speaking, and you're saying I should get up there and do it anyway, can I build my confidence by giving my speech to myself in the mirror? Can I build my confidence by giving my speech to a member of my family?
Yes. In fact, one of the scenarios that I recommend is not only do you go in front of the mirror, but while you're looking in the mirror, train yourself to focus your eyes right on your eyes. And you can never look away from your eyes while your brain is configuring the words you're going to be speaking. There's a word in martial arts. It's called Sitari. Sitari, Sitari. Now, I have a son-in-law who is a grand champion, national karate champion. And I've learned some things from him. But Sitari means that you're totally in control of your faculties. You are absolutely focused. An example is if you jumped out of an airplane to do a skydive, boy, from the time you jump out of that plane until that chute opened, you are in complete Sitari. You are focused. You are in control of your thinking. Now, you can't be jumping out of airplanes or off bridges for a bungee jump all the time, but you can focus your energy like if you're looking into a mirror. If you try it, this is hard. You give your speech without letting your eyes dart away from your eyes. Just focus there. It puts you in Sitari. It forces your mind to stay clear on what you're trying to say. And that's what you need. That's the skill you need in front of an audience.
Okay. Well, we've all seen public speakers that get up and they do not even look at the audience. They don't look anybody in the eye. You can see they're looking off to the side, or they're looking past you, over their heads, or whatever. Is that a problem that they have with public speaking, that they are afraid to be there and they are actually avoiding the thing that would help them the most?
I think you're right. I think that's absolutely the truth. Public speaking is a real good subject matter to discuss this heart thinking. Many of your watchers, listeners may remember a presidential candidate named Bo Greitz. He was the most decorated guy to come out of Vietnam, but he had a gift that I've never seen as well developed in any other person. Without any notes, he could walk up to a microphone and start talking to an audience and hold their attention, just spellbound. And now that's a gift that is so far away from me. I don't know how to train anybody to get to that point, but all of us aren't gifted that way. And now you can train yourself to get up in front of an audience and connect with that audience because you've trained yourself to look where you want to look while your mind is focusing your words. And when you look at the audience in the eye, Every person out there will give you a signal, empathy that you can resonate with. Now, I've been giving some presentations over Zoom recently, and good grief, it's awful. It's terrible because there is no audience to respond to you. You can't feed off your audience with Zoom. So it's just another thing you've got to do. You've got to train your mind to zero in and focus on your response. Nobody's going to laugh at your jokes. You can't hear them laugh. You can't see them laugh. But you've got to understand that it's funny and continue just like you would if it were live.
Okay. Well, Ron, we know, when you are on Zoom that people are watching your presentation. So if you focus your eye on the camera with the understanding that on the other side of that camera is an audience of people cheering you on, laughing at your jokes.
Yeah. And that's what you're doing when you're looking in the mirror in your eye. That's exactly what you're training yourself for.
Okay. All right. So, this is fun, and time goes by fast when you're having fun. So in the moments that we have remaining, what would you say is the most important thing I can gain out of your book, Heart Thinking? Give me one sentence that sums it up.
Oh, I don't know if you're going to like this, but that sentence would be something like this. Read the book, have faith in the author, me, so that when I present you with my next work, you'll take it serious. And that next work is being done right now. I'm building a company. And my goal is to save our country. We got a plan, and we're going to get it done.
And I think the whole population needs to get behind you in that effort and take the steps to save our country. I mean, we're all concerned about the direction that it's going, and I appreciate the work that you're doing to change that. And that's all. If we can get into our subconscious minds and make ourselves understand that we have the answer, I think that's what's going to help, don't you?
Yes, and my congratulations to you, because you're jumping out of your comfort zone and you're getting stuff done. Thank you.
At least I'm trying, and you're trying. All right, Ron, thank you for being with us today. Folks, this has been Real Hope with W.O. Laney. Thank you for watching today.